All right. Hey, everyone. Welcome to Street Level Strategies. I am joined today by Bill Ezell, loan officer at Synergy One Lending. How are you doing, Bill?
Very good. It's a Friday.
It is a Friday. We're recording on a Friday, so that's good. All right, Bill, do you mind just giving a quick introduction to you?
Yeah, I've been in this crazy industry on the retail side since '08. I was in subprime prior to that. So I've been around through a few bumps.
Yeah.
And, I'm not smart enough to run my business without help of a CRM. And I got to tell you, I'm sold on Total Expert.
We love that.
I cannot run my business without getting into that. But we're retail. We're based out of Castle Rock, Colorado.
Okay.
We are a mortgage banker, so that's kind of my background. And most
Yeah.
of the business, about half comes from my clients and half from the agents traditionally.
Okay. Well, we'd love to hear that you love Total Expert. So let's jump into a little bit about that. So when you say that I know most loan officers run for the hills when you hear the word CRM, but let's talk about why you don't and why you actually have chosen to dive deeper into the CRM and how you leverage that on a day-to-day.
Yes, I'll talk about the leads first. What I really like about the CRM is I don't know the clients without pulling up the lead.
Yeah.
And my team or me, I can put notes in, or I can cut and paste notes that come from an agent into the file. So it really gives me a big jump start on knowing the client. And as I add notes, it's in there. And then there is a separate little note section there that when we're done with the summary and I've gotten them to apply, my assistant has the information. Same thing with the approval. So I don't have to know every client, go to some Google sheet to know the status. We have everything in Total Expert. So that is my brain.
Yeah. That's what I've heard. For the people who are leveraging it as a true CRM, they're using it for that source of record of the client. So like if you don't know, you don't always have to know all the specific details and remember every client, but you can at least go into the platform and say, hey, I know these key things. And now my loan officer assistant can know, my team can know, and you can always have those deep conversations and you can pretend like you're a rock star, even if you don't remember all the details.
Correct. And it also helps me with all my follow-ups. I'm a heavy tasker.
Yeah.
So I think we talked about that before, but the tasking, I set my follow-up. So I have my own system on my tasks. So I task the new lead, follow up 2 days later. It's just my system.
Yeah.
It's once a week for 10. And then it goes to once a month, but I don't have to think about my cadence. And I also in the task tell myself what step I'm at. And at a year, if I have nothing that's come out of them, then I remove it. But I don't have to think through it because every morning I have my calls for the day. I don't even have to think about it. I don't have to go look at a Google sheet. Yeah. It's ready to roll. Yeah. On the buyer side, we haven't even talked about the agents yet, but we're talking about the buyers or potential agents.
Okay, so let's pause there and let's go back because I want to make sure we're pretty tactical for people who are listening. So when you say tasking, you said something about, you task them for 10 weeks for every week, or what were you?
Yeah. 10. So I do 10 touches. So my first two are a couple days apart. It's my own timing. I know the core teaches that you need to text, email, call, and you blow them up, right, for a very short time. I find that if you stretch it out a little bit more, you can warm them up and they're not as likely to shut you down. So that's what I do because I want to make sure I tell my agents 10 contacts. After 10 contacts, I go to once a month. And when I looked at my data from 21 and 22, and about 35% of my business happened after the 7th month. So if you quit before 7 months, you left a third of your business on the table, just to let you know.
So we're in for the long game. We're not in for the short, right?
The long game.
But you're saying that you're using the task to ensure that you are staying with them for at least 7 months. And you're saying I do 10 touches.
Yeah, 10 touches.
Then I go monthly.
Then it's once a month till I hit the 1 year. And and on the task, I tell myself once I'm in the once a month, I'll say, it'll be purchase lead June. And that tells me once I hit June next year, I know I've hit the 1 year mark. And I changed my verbiage in my last couple months coming up to it. Say it's the second to last time. This is the last time. And sometimes that spurs them to finally reach out as well.
Right. And that's just for your lead funnel. And then when you said you also have a different way to track agents, what does that look like?
Yeah. So, everybody has their own list. I have A, B, C, D, Q.
Okay, let's talk about
And
that.
then the bottom line, my cues are the ones I want to see if come back to life. Maybe there
Okay.
are agents that I like. And within Total Expert on the task, you have options of when you want it on an automated reoccurring task, how often you want it to come up. So my cues, that's a quarterly.
Okay.
Task is just agent queue, and I set it on a quarterly. My purpose is I'm not ready to totally blow them out of my world.
Okay.
My D agents, those are monthly. Once again, on task reoccurring. I call it Agent D. It just once a month, it automatically cues me to call that agent.
Okay.
C's I manually do. That's every 3 weeks. My B's are ones that in the past, not a lot of them have it right now. They have pretty good production, so I wanted to talk to them every other week. Once again, with Total Expert reoccurring task, there's an every other week. And I have a B1 and a B2 list, so that's how I agent B1, agent B2.
Yeah.
And then my A's are my ones, which is what really dwindling, that I want to talk to every week. And once again, reoccurring task, you can set it for weekly.
Yeah.
So all that is built. So I never have to think about who I'm calling. And I tend to be heavy, lean first 2 days of the week are agents. That's where my focus is. So my A, B's, and C's will hit those days.
Okay.
The D's just kind of hit. And the quarterlies just kind of hit, and I'll mix them in with my buyer calls, my pipeline follow-up calls. But I don't ever have to think about it. This thing's so smart to me. It just tells me every day I know what I got to clear. And my goal is to clear all my tasks before I leave.
Okay. So tell me this. So were you like, have you always been a really task-driven person, or where does is Total X have you? Oh, okay. So you are a task-oriented human being.
I was taught a long time ago before this stuff was hot. ACT back in the day.
Okay.
It was a big database, and I was taught. I thought it was fantastic. I'm like, I got a database that tells me what to do. So,
yeah. Okay.
So that's the basic tools. Now, there's a lot of bells and whistles I'm sure we're going to hit within Expert, but these are my manual tasks.
Yes. And so then what does a daily routine look? Are you in the, is it, how do you make this part of your day to day? Is it morning? Like I know I'm in, is it I get the daily digest? How are you reminded every day?
Use the digest. I've heard a lot of people that do. I just literally turn on the system and I sort my task by date. And my goal is to clear all my tasks for today. It's very simple.
Yeah. No, I love it. I love it. Okay. So we know you're heavily using tasks, and what is that done for your business? Like what type of success do you see with just being able to automate those tasks in your day to day?
Yeah, you don't worry about having a lead slip through. So my conversion rate's ridiculous. Right now, knock on wood, I'm still converting 74% of my apps. But 74% of my leads do apps, so I don't need 300 leads. I'm not saying I get them to close because a lot of them are on the sidelines, but 3/4 will apply. And I think it's just because of when I get a lead, I pretend like I spent $500 to buy that lead. So I work at the death, and without having a set system with the notes and everything else, those things just slip out the sidelines. I don't care if you have a Google sheet. It's not the same.
Yeah, that's so interesting because there's a different approach right now. You hear from some people like we're just churning through we're churning through leads. But then I also hear this other approach from folks who are saying, I just nurture the heck out of that lead and make sure that when they are ready to buy, they know that I'm there, right? So I have a few good leads, and I'm really nurturing those leads.
Yeah, so you could do it either way with the business. And nurturing for me works so that I also don't get shopped.
100%. Right. And that's actually a really good segue into talking a little about customer intelligence. So I know that you guys have been leveraging customer intelligence for a little bit, right? And one of the key things with that is surfacing opportunities to the originator to make sure key things like maybe when you getting shopped with it, whether it be your customer potentially shopping with someone else or pulling their credit somewhere else. So what does that look like for you? I know you might just be recently,
I'm starting to really get into it. So we do get the credit alerts. So anybody you put in there, that is in the system with a certain amount of data, I can't remember the points, you get a credit alert. So a lot of the credit alerts I got are from leads from like a long time ago that I never really got. But I'm getting a new credit alert, so it's cool. Listing alerts, very similar. If we have the client's data in there, it might be a loan that I didn't ever close, but I get a listing alert. So I'm sifting through some of these alerts and figuring out which ones are valid. I think if you had the bandwidth, you could just call them all and not worry if you had a relationship or not.
Yeah.
But so I'm in the beginning stages of figuring out how to work it, and I'm also, like a lot of mortgage bankers, I've been assigned leads from some folks who left. So customer intelligence also tells me anniversary. Those have been heavily effective because I just did a task to call John Smith, and it wasn't my client, it was somebody who left.
Yeah.
And I've got an instance, a little bit warmer call when you're calling these folks. So
yeah, they're happier.
Yeah, they're happier. I love that one because they have some kind of a relationship with us. But yeah, it's really interesting. So I am working through the different intelligence, and I'm figuring out how to work them and which ones are valid. And I can tell you one good thing is I had 200 equity alerts come up that was bogging me.
Yeah.
And it was you, and you're like, you know what? If it's clogging you, just clear the task. So that's what I cleared them, and now I'm working.
Yeah.
And those tasks, by the way, at the moment, unless it's a credit or an annual, I'll clear my other tasks first because they're a little bit hotter, and then I'll do those. So.
Yeah. So you have been getting some of those equity alerts, which is surfacing any equity opportunities in your database. Have you done have you dabbled in any of that, looked into those? Or are you mostly looking at your other day-to-day tasks?
I am starting to dabble. I had too many at the beginning. So when you turn on artificial intelligence or this system, you'll get too much at the beginning. So I cleared it to get a fresh start. Now I get a limited amount every day, and I'm calling them. I'm just checking the last time because a few of them I just called within like the last 60 days.
Yeah.
On an anniversary or something. So I'll just clear it in that case. I'll make another call. But other ones, it's been about 6 months. I mean, I think at least in Denver or Castle Rock area, if they bought over 2 years ago, they automatically have equity to do the second.
Totally.
So at the moment, the equity alerts for the ones that have been on the books for a while probably isn't as much needed, but it does remind you, hey, maybe you want to check in.
Yeah.
Wait for the anniversary call. So
I
think it's going to help me with cadence there. And then I'm using that right now to set up seconds.
Yeah.
With the thought process being down the line, I'll refi and put them back into a first before it's ever come back down. So
great. And I like how you're thinking about it of, okay, maybe it's not a direct opportunity right now, but it's at least a time to call them. Use that as one of your touch points. And then you can set a follow-up task, right? Maybe in a couple of months, I check in again. And then I check in again and see if it makes sense at that time.
Yep. Yeah. Because I right now, if it wasn't for my past database, if I was relying on realtors in Colorado, there's not much there.
Yeah. Exactly. Right. Okay. Final thing. I know we talked a little bit about journeys and some of the video content that you leverage.
Cool.
What does that look like for you? What do you, where are you seeing success with that?
Yeah, I'm very excited about the journey. So in our company, you can add video steps for the journey. So, I can't even tell you the steps anymore because we set up, it just automatically goes. So as the client's going through the process, it's sending out a video for me talking about that step they're in. They also have journeys like for new leads. They have journeys. I think we even have journeys for the folks that have listed. I mean, they've got a whole bunch of stuff that I don't even have to know about. It just automatically starts going out to the client.
Yeah.
And, so really cool.
Yeah. So 2 questions that just came up. So first things first, how hard, because I know I've heard this from many other folks, like it's hard to record the video. They just don't get it. Like, how hard was it for you to record those videos?
Oh, it was easy. Yeah. Cause they gave us they gave us 10
scripts.
So that's how many I've built on my journey. I can't even tell you what it is. I did it a couple of years, 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And it was like, they were short clips.
Yeah.
It was a piece of cake, got it into our marketing folks as they're the ones that loaded it in for us. And it looks awesome.
Great. Have you heard any feedback from folks? Like, I just could imagine as a borrower being like, that's cool. Like, I wish, like, that's cool that my loan officer is sending me a video rather than just like a random email.
I don't hear that, but I use video text and video email.
So you're a heavy video person.
And I think that's part of the reason why I get such a high conversion later.
Okay.
That they see me so many times that they feel like they get to know me just from the video, where they're not going to, it's not a stagnant email. They actually get to see me.
Yeah, 100%. And then another potential thing I hear from originators is, not wanting to opt into journeys because you don't know what's going out, and what if it doesn't sound like me, and all this stuff. And from what I've heard from the originators who have opted into journeys is like, who cares? It's awesome. And they are getting communication at every step of the way. And I don't even have to think about it. So how do you mentally, if you're talking to a originator who's like, I don't know, how would you approach or give them advice on that?
I would just say, just do it. It's going to be a lot more effective than an email or one of these static texts that go out from our companies. It's a lot more of a personal touch, even though it's a video.
Yeah.
So you just got to get over it. That's where we're heading. And,
we're there. Actually, we're not just heading there. We're there.
Yeah.
We are on your train. Yeah.
And not to change the subject too much, but I do use video emails through Total Experts. So they go through my compliance and they load them in. I have a market update I do on Wednesdays where I talk about the Freddie Mac weekly survey. It goes out to all my prospect, closed clients, past clients, and agents. And another one that goes out on Fridays to agents. So you can also just sort a list and hit a button, and if the email's ready to go, it just goes, and it gives you your open rates. It's really good.
Sort a list, pick a button, or you know what I mean? But when people think about it, they think wow, it's so much. But what I tell people is if you know the process, get the process down. You have your groups made, you've got your list and the people that you want to hit, just like you were saying. And then you record a video, the template's already built, you select a button and it goes out every week. And you can then, the follow-up is, okay, who's clicked on the email? And even better, who actually clicked on the video link and watched it, right? So you can really see the engagement of those videos rather than on an email, you really can't.
Yeah, and you get it on the dashboard the next day. So when I do that crazy rate update one, I launch about 2,000. My average opens is above 900.
Wow.
But I've been doing it for 3 years consistently. So it's a consistent one that they got early on, but before a lot of people were doing it, I think. And that's the reason I have a high open rate.
Totally. So. And I think that's the key too, of telling people, just keep doing it, right? The consistency is key. But I hear from the originators who I've seen who have done the consistent videos on a consistent basis, they are the ones who are seeing the most success, but not to be afraid. You just got to start somewhere if you want to do it. Yeah, that's great. And I love that you have a repeatable process. You're saying, that you get the survey and you can share that out. You can talk about it with your realtors. You have a consistent, because they're like, what do I talk about? Right. But it's, you've picked, hey, this is what I'm talking about every week. You can keep that consistency and shoot it out really quickly.
Yep.
I love it. I love it.
You're right.
Any final thoughts, Bill? This has been wonderful. I've loved hearing how you're using the platform.
No, I just think you need something to rely on that's consistent, that helps you to not have to put a ton of energy into every step of the process.
Right.
You just hand it over to Total Expert. My opinion is it takes care of itself. If you have a big team, you can pay for seats, meaning other individuals can put their own task.
Love it.
You can see who did what steps. So there's a lot of cool stuff you can do. Right now, I've shrunk down the team. But in the past, I had 2 other people that were in there. So it's just it's all in one place where you don't have to go to a Google Sheet. I hate going to Google Sheets.
You're one of
it up and it's ready to go.
Yeah. Some people love their Google Sheets, and I'm not one of those people. We're not one of those people, but we're going to convert people over from this video, I hope.
Yes. Yeah. And when you're starting off, I used to run it side by side. And after a while, you're like, why do I have this Google Sheet up? I'm doing double the work, and you'll delete it at some point.
You have to start somewhere. And I love that you've gotten to a point where you're consistently pulling up the system every day and working from it. You've made it work.
It's up all day. If I get an inbound call, boom, I pop up that client, put in whatever the conversation is.
but you've created that consistency, right? And the process that will make you need to go back, right? Because single source of truth, the tasking, all of that stuff, but that's what works for you, right?
That's what works for me. Yeah.
That's wonderful. Well, Bill, this has been fabulous. I really appreciate you just sharing some of your success with the system and encouraging other folks to get in there, figure out what works for them, opt in, just do it, you know? So I really, really appreciate your time. And I keep killing it. You're doing an amazing job.
Thank you.
Awesome. All right. We'll talk to you soon.
Bye. Good.